ago. Chill.
Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying-Model-Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show, you get to walk in the X-Men shoes. Has Marvel found its Reed Richards? And the entire human race is probably cursed. But as you know, here at Model Behaviour, action figures always come first.
Or sometimes not at all.
So let's talk about them. First up on the show, McFarlane have finally given us all the delicious, beautiful, juicy preview images of their Dark Knight line, and yeah, they do look really good. Okay, so I showed a couple, but the newest one is Bane, so we're going to go back. Tom Hardy's Bane. It looks really good, okay? And you know I'm not a huge McFarlane fan, but it looks like they've just gone for that photo-real, movie-accurate Tom Hardy, this is it type design. And I gotta say, like, for 25-ish bucks, I'm guessing it's going to be the kind of price point. Like, it's really good. The paintwork, it looks gorgeous. Why can't the comic characters have this kind of paintwork? Why did I sound so whiny when I said that? Because it's like, I saw Mr. Freeze in store today, and the Mr. Freeze sculpt looks brilliant, but the paintwork looks a bit naff. Whereas these Dark Knight figures, you know, these are premium prestige work going into them. So Bane looks gorgeous. Then we got the Scarecrow. My brain was trying to say Snowflake. I don't know why. That wouldn't be a very intimidating villain. The Snowflake. We have the Scarecrow, and he does look intimidating. One thing about the Dark Knight trilogy, like, I loved, is it Cillian Murphy? It is Cillian Murphy as the Scarecrow. I thought he was great, but we never really got a good look at the costume and the character, because whenever he put the mask on, everything went, you know, goo-goo GB. So now it's great to have an actual representation of that character in full Scarecrow garb. It looks terrifying, man. Looks really, really cool. If only they were 6-inch scale, you could fudge him into your Marvel collection as well, because they have their own Scarecrow, but they don't really use him much. But they should do. Scarecrows are universal. They can be multi comic book companies. Marvel, bring back the Marvel Scarecrow. But that notwithstanding, he looks really cool. Then, of course, we got the ones that we have kind of seen. But, oh, well, have we seen Heath Ledger Joker already? Because here it is. He looks good, doesn't he? I mean, they've captured it. They've captured it beautifully. Again, prestige. That's what I'm talking about. No lazy paint. This looks like they've got really all the features and the details just brought out to life. I think this guy, I don't think he's going to be rare, because I would imagine that anyone with any sense is going to make a lot of these, because even people who aren't action figure collectors but are like just casual fans of, you know, cool franchise like movies and stuff, a badass looking Heath Ledger Joker action figure, like, people are going to want that. Your Hot Topic crowd, they're going to be down to clown with this figure. So I'm guessing it'll sell like hotcakes, but, you know, if McFarlane are smart, they'll make them like hotcakes too. Then, of course, we got the Batman, the Christian Bale Batman, who, again, just looks great. Don't want to go repeat myself too much, because there we are. And then, of course, as we showed before, you got Harvey Dent Two-Face, who, oh, this looks gnarly. Looks really gnarly with the messed up face. I'm digging what they're doing here. I'm sure we're going to get full reveals coming out soon and official prices and release dates. But in the meantime, at the moment, to like whet our appetite, you can believe my appetite is whetted. That sounds weird. But that's not all for Batman. If you want to go a little bit more comic booky, then Beast Kingdom are doing a 4-pack of the Dark Knight's Metal Batman Who Laughs. No, wait, hang on a second. Let me look at that. 1, 2, 3. It's 3. It's 3. I struggle after 2. It numbers hard. Words are numbers. They're both hard. With his, are they called crows? Like Joker Robins? Does it say Dynamic Heroes Batman Who Laughs? No, it doesn't say. They are called crows, aren't they? I don't know. I used to have them, but not anymore. Regardless, I'm just rambling now. these do look pretty. They should look pretty because they're $200. Okay, Beast Kingdom tends to skew a little bit high, and the set is going to be released around about April this year. So it's a good looking set. Obviously, there's nothing else that quite sort of matches the scale and the style. It's going to be like a standalone. Well, I mean, there are other Beast Kingdom items, I guess, but it is more of a kind of like a standalone kind of like set. Like here's my grim, gruesome looking Batman who laughs with his Robins. I'm just going to call them Robins, and they do look wicked. Of course, McFarlane had an earlier pack like this, which was kind of annoying for some collectors because I think people spent a lot of money trying to accumulate and acquire all the Robin variants, and then Todd was like, oh hey, why don't you just buy them in this 4-pack? Did I not tell you I was going to release that? So yeah, this Beast Kingdom one looks super pretty, captures the maniacal Batman who laughs. I like the look of it. I'm not a big DC guy, but I still really appreciate what they've done with it. But you know me, I am a big Marvel and Spider-Man fan, and SH Figure Arts have beaten Marvel Legends to the punch and revealed their No Way Home Green Goblin. And Norman Osborn, he looks good. I gotta say, I'm not overly convinced with their Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I'm not too enamored with the way that the joints all look on that thing. But Green Goblin, he looks the business. These are only just like a couple of little preview pictures that were photographed at one of their booths, at one of their conventions. Don't know why I elongated booths, but there you are. And it looks great. It really, really does. No word on release date or price yet, because this is just like convention preview type stuff. But they've captured it, man. I love the redone design that they had for No Way Home, where they got rid of the awful Power Rangers mask and just let Willem Dafoe's face do the talking, because that's all you need. And then with the goggles, you do get more of a classic Green Goblin sort of appearance. I love it. I like it. I like it a lot. I really do, actually. You know what? I was tempted there for a second, but I thought, no, Dave, you pre-ordered the Mezco. That'll be here in 3 or 4 years. So that can be your quintessential Green Goblin. But man, this thing, this looks really, really good. Not content with dominating the Marvel sphere, SH Figure Arts are also going the Disney Plus route by immortalizing one of their worst shows, Obi Wan. So we're getting the Disney Plus Obi Wan SH Figure Arts figure, and he actually, he looks fine. I mean, that's the thing. Ewan McGregor's great. The show was pants. It was naff. But Ewan, he's just a boss. I'd watch that dude in anything, even Birds of Prey. I didn't like his take on Black Mask. I think it was a little bit, I wasn't at home with that. But it's still, he's a charismatic dude. Why am I discussing his acting abilities when I'm talking about an action figure? The figure looks nice as well, is what I'm saying. So let me give you a little bit of info on it. It's going to be pre-orders beginning February the 9th, and it's going to be priced, of course, coming out in Japan first, for nearly 10,000 yen, which is about $77 US. Going to be released around about June. So if you want to wake up each morning, glance over to your mantelpiece, and be reminded of maybe the second worst Disney Plus show, I think Disney Plus Star Wars show. I think Book of Boba Fett still holds that crown for the biggest waste of my time. But Obi-Wan was right up there. So you can go pick this up. And finally, for Dragon Ball Z, they are busy little beavers. They are also going over to Dragon Ball Z. And finally, for SH Figure Arts, they are busy little beavers. We're going to go over to Dragon Ball Z, where they are giving us the Dragon Ball Super Gohan Beast. And this guy looks kind of fun. I'm not going to pretend to be like, yes, let me give you my top 5 Super Gohan Beast moments. No, I don't know, but he looks nice. If you're a Dragon Ball fan, you can judge better than I can, so I'll just give you the info. So this guy is the powered up version of Gohan from the movie, the Dragon Ball Z animated movie. He's going to be retailing for $65 US with a ship time of August 2023. So yeah, there you go. Another pretty Dragon Ball Z figure for your pretty Dragon Ball Z collection. Star Ace Toys are giving us a Queen Maeve figure. I've watched The Boys and I forgot how to pronounce their name. But from The Boys and Star Action Figures. That's like, is it Star Action? No, Star Ace. Sorry, Star Action Figures is a website to order figures from. Star Ace are doing this 1/6 scale Hot Toys style figure. And of course that comes with the Hot Toy style price tag, $350. So not cheap, but of course, you know what to expect with something like this. I'm never going to have one of these in hand because it's a lot of money to pay for something that's not really in my wheelhouse. I did pay for something that was not in my wheelhouse too much the other day. Here we go. Review. Oh, I shouldn't have bothered with this. It's more hard. the juice ain't worth the squeeze here. But I got the Leo Convoy Optimus Prime because I was like, let's just try and mix up Transformers reviews and stuff a bit. Now, you know what? It doesn't sing to me. But hey, I'll sell him and find a good home for this little kitty. Anyway, I was talking about Queen Meave. Maeve? Yeah, okay, we'll stick with Maeve. She looks really pretty. But yeah, not my cup of tea because I don't have the space or the money for those kind of figures. But still, she looks kind of cool. Do I have any more information? Oh yeah, $350, as I said, and probably Q4 this year. Going back to Beast Kingdom now, but this time to League of Legends. They are doing the Dynamic Action Heroes DAH-068, what is this, an android? Star Guardian Kai Sa figure. $89.99 and going to be released Q4 this year. I don't know League of Legends at all. An ex of mine used to watch League of Legends like esports all the time. And I was such a funny old man. I was like, I just don't get it. You're just watching people play video games. Why don't you kids want to play video games yourselves? But hey, League of Legends is massive. Don't get me wrong. I'm the one in the wrong here. All right. So yeah, you can get her. That's all I got to say about that. She does look cool though. And finally, for Marvel Legends collectors, it's going to be a busy couple of weeks coming up, at least according to Dan Yun, who tweeted as such, saying that, yeah, the next few weeks will be interesting, is what his tweet said. And then that was followed by emojis of some bread, some cheese, and someone shrugging their shoulders. I don't know what to make of that. And to be honest, I don't know if we're supposed to make anything of it. I think Dan Yun might just be messing. But hey, look, you know that Marvel Legends always have a little something up their sleeve. There's always something waiting to be revealed. And look, maybe, since SH Figure Arts have beaten them to the punch with their Green Goblin, maybe they're like, oh geez, we better get these No Way Home figures out. I don't know, I'm just spitballing. It could be anything. But I'm excited to find out. And you know, as soon as we do, you'll hear it here first. After the main news outlets have reported it, then I've taken it and then told you. You'll hear it here first! Over in TV and film news, first of all, just a cute little aside, SNL, Saturday Night Live, who, I mean, I don't really find much of their stuff amusing. However, there is a new sketch doing the rounds with Pedro Pascal playing a grim, gritty, real-life version of a beloved video game. Of course, he's playing Mario in Super Mario Kart, the HBO gritty drama series, at least in this parody trailer.
It's a me, Mario.
And the funny thing is, like, I'm really impressed just with the production that SNL have put into this. I think they're probably hoping it would go viral, and I'm guessing it is. I mean, look, I'm talking about it here. But Pedro Pascal as a gritty real-life Mario, like, that actually kind of works. I thought like the joke of this trailer would get old after 30 seconds, but I became interested to see like, oh, what's their gritty take on the next Mario cliche going to be? And I got a real kick out of this. Obviously, I can't show it here. I'll get a copyright strike, but go look it up because I got to admit, it was a lot of fun. And speaking of Mario, there's a new Mario poster out. Just thought I would share it here. I mean, it's nothing particularly groundbreaking, but I feel it captures the essence of what they're going for. And the more I see of this movie, which I'm trying not to see too much, but what I have seen, I really like the look of it. I'm really excited for this. If it's the same sort of level as Sonic, then I'm going to be happy as a clam. And I'm guessing it might be considerably better. We'll find out in April. This is a juicy one now. I was doing little finger guns there without even thinking about it, because we're talking about the gunman himself, the gunman. That's a good nickname. James Gunn has ruffled a few feathers in the DC acting industry because he did say in his statement recently about the new DCEU, I forget what he's calling it, but he's saying we're going to have consistency throughout the brand, so the same actors are portraying the same characters, not just in movies, but in animation and video games. And that's where a lot of video game voiceover artists have spoken up and been like, yo, that might not be too practical for you. You might be putting the cart before the horse there, boss, because video game acting is very, very different to all other kinds of acting. And first of all, it's very easy to be like, someone's just trying to protect their jobs. I just spat on myself there. But that's not the case. Like, genuinely, you're going to have major, A-list Hollywood actors. And do you think that they're going to spend the countless hours in the voiceover booth that video game voiceover artists do, for a rate that's not crazy, not like that they would expect for their Hollywood films? That's not going to work too well because, that's what you got to remember is that Hollywood actors, you go on set, you do your thing, blah, 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 and that's what it is. Whereas video game voiceover artists, you got to do the sound bites, the clips, the voices, the grunts, the groans, the hits, it's so much more involved and so much repetition and different styles, and it's a different art form. So expecting that film actors will just instantly be able to go and do video game voiceovers, it's not practical, James Gunn. It ain't practical necessarily, or just financially feasible. That's a big one. So I'm interested to see where this goes. I'm guessing James Gunn, he seems to be pretty good at his kind of corporate relations kind of thing. I could see him taking this information on board or taking this little backlash on board and going, all right, maybe I was wrong. Let's reevaluate this. Then again, his reaction to the Henry Cavill backlash was like, it's happening, deal with it. So yeah, we'll see what happens with the Gunman in the near future. The Gunman's not going to stick. We'll just go with James Gunn. Over to Netflix now, and they are capitalizing on the Squid Game phenomenon from 2000. Was it really 2021? It says 2021 in my notes. It was 2022, surely. It wasn't 2021. It wasn't that long ago. But regardless, they're making a real-life Squid Game, just without the death. And they're doing it in the UK. And unfortunately, it's been a bit of a shambles from what reports have said, mainly because contestants have been apparently collapsing due to cold and exposure and exhaustion because it's freaking cold here in the UK at the moment. So there's been a whole to-do, or as we say in England, bit of a muddle, about the contestants and how they've been looked after on this show. And then other contestants saying, hey, yo, guess what? News break. This reality show is not reality. It's totally rigged. Apparently, there are influencers on the show who are being put through to the next round regardless of how they do. And there are even people who found out that they had their return flights booked before they had even done the contests. So they had their return flights booked for the day after a contest they hadn't yet done. So they were like, okay, yeah, we're not contestants, we're just extras. So there you go, folks. Another example that the real world is faker than wrestling. Over in Marvel news, MCU news, apparently Dev Patel is in talks. Originally, Dev Patel, I think, made his name in Slumdog Millionaire, but he's gone on to do a whole bunch of other stuff. Green Knight recently. It's a really good actor. It's charismatic as hell. I think he'd be fantastic as Reed Richards. That's what I was getting to. Man, my mind works in crazy tangents. Yes! Dev Patel is not signed, but apparently there are talks ongoing for him to play Reed Richards in the MCU. I'm a John Krasinski guy. I love that we got him in Multiverse of Madness, but I would really like to see him take the role. But at the same time, he's not getting any younger, and Marvel have been dragging their feet for too long. So I get that they'd want to go for someone like a little bit younger. Not that there's a massive age discrepancy between them, but still, I think Dev Patel has the chops to do a really interesting take on Reed Richards. So I know that there are going to be folks who are like, I don't like the fact that they're race swapping this character and whatnot. But honestly, I mean, it doesn't make, I don't feel it makes a huge difference to the character of Reed Richards. It's all about how the character's written and portrayed, and I think Dev Patel, could absolutely nail it. So I would be down for that if that is the route they go. Something that James Gunn might have a little bit of wiggle room on, though, is Superman's pants. Yes! He put it to Instagram, Twitter, there you go, the Twitter sphere. He put up a poll saying, guys, should Superman wear pants on the outside of his costume? And 59.3% of people said, yes, we want the underpants back. And honestly, I gotta admit, I think I'm a pants guy. I think so. Because it's just something, it breaks up all of the blue. Like, even I like what Marvel did with Wolverine, where they took his pants away, but he has like the tiger stripes and some, patterns down the legs that kind of break things up, whereas Superman, it is predominantly one color, and I think it's good to mix things up a little bit. So for me, pants all the way, but only with a substantial belt as well, because actually in the image used, in the photoshopped image, like those do just look like underpants he's wearing. That's not a good look. No, if you're gonna do the pants, you gotta have like a big chunky belt as well, so it doesn't look like he's wearing his underwear on the outside. But hey, I'm not a DCEU costume designer person. I'm just a man in a room talking about the news. But let's see when they do Superman, what was it called? Legacy? We'll see if we get pants on him. And finally, The Last of Us Episode 3 came out a week ago now, and it was a beautiful bit of television. And of course, we can't have beautiful things in this world, so it's been review bombed on the Rotten Tomatoes site. And it's like, come on, people. Like, if you gotta hate on something because it's a story about two men having a love story between each other, like, is that why we're review bombing this? Come on, folks, we're better than this as a human race. So at the moment on Rotten Tomatoes, 28% of people have given it a 1 out of 10, and all I'm saying is, the folks who've done that to, I don't know, try and make a statement, I wish you well, because I hope that you can find like some happiness and some love in your life and in your hearts, that you don't need to do things like that to give yourself a chuckle, I hope that you can find nice people and make good friends and maybe, find someone to love, and maybe, you won't want to like just do stuff for the sake of just, being a bit of a dick. I mean, look, the actual rating on Rotten Tomatoes doesn't affect anything of anything, but it's like, come on, human race, just do nice things, It's like the thumbs down on YouTube, but who uses that? It doesn't change anything. I mean, now we can't even see, what the percentage is, so it's neither here nor there. But it's like one of those things where it's like, why do you want to put out negativity to the world when you could use the same amount of effort to just do something nice? My philosophy is, if I don't like something, I just move on with my day.
Watching this back, I appreciate that comes off as pretty rich from someone who tries to make a living by reviewing action figures and talking about the things that they don't like. But I hope that we can agree that that's very different from what I'm talking about. So don't you start saying in the comments, oh Dave, you don't comment about things you don't like. Let me look at the last Marvel Legends review. All right, okay, you got me there. But also, that's different.
That's a good thing for you as well. Unless you see like genuine injustice in the world. If you see something that is like, this is wrong and it's that's dangerous then, isn't it? Because some people see things and they're like, this is wrong and it's hurting people. And actually you might be like, no, it's not wrong and it's not hurting people. Man, human beings are a complex bunch, aren't we? Just remember, as long as you agree with me, then you're right. Over in comics news, Marvel are currently reforming one of the most irredeemable characters in the world. Norman Osborn is now the Gold Goblin, and I'm willing to see where it goes. I don't like the fact that Peter is willing to like work side by side with him. It's like, this is still the person who killed your girlfriend. I know that now he's had all of his sins taken away, and he's just a normal person who's like, oh my goodness, I done some bad stuff, but still, it's a bit of a tough pill to swallow. And also, you know what comic books are like. Eventually, everything will be reset. But while they are doing this story of redemption, where he's like this new person who's trying to make amends for what he did before, it's kind of interesting. So I'm enjoying following the story of the Golden Goblin. But also, if we're talking Spider-Man, one thing that has been absolute toilet water, just in my opinion, is Marvel's treatment of Ben Reilly, the much maligned Spider clone who can just never seem to catch a break. At least not in official Marvel content, which is why I want to give a shout out to 90s Spider Bros on Instagram, who is basically taking the Ben Reilly story and recreating it how they would like to see it told. And guess what? It's actually pretty darn good. Way better than anything that I've been paying money for the last few months. So yeah, if you're a Clone Saga aficionado and you want to see Peter, Ben, Kane all kind of treated right and given an interesting story with some gorgeous artwork, then you could do a lot worse than to go check out 90s Spider Bros on Instagram. And finally, for comic books, Zordon. Power Rangers, that's where we're going. That was an awkward transition, but here we are. In the Power Rangers comics, one of the writers has raised some interesting questions about the leader of the Power Rangers. In Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 104 by Melissa Flores and Simona Di Gianfelice, I apologize for butchering that. In the issue, Alpha 1 has joined Rita Repulsa and flat out admits that his tutelage under Zordon has blinded him to the truth of the man. Even while he clings to black and white notions of good and evil, he employs child soldiers to blindly fight a never-ending war. That's an interesting little take on Zordon. I mean, look, I know when the Power Rangers show was put together, of course, it was kids, because it was a kids show. But then when you do go into expanding the lore in different media, and also the age of the Power Rangers fans goes up, constantly, we're all adults now, you can tell more interesting stories, and you can take what was a simple conceit of a kids show and go, yeah, but what kind of a person actually recruits children into an ongoing war? It's like, that's kind of deep and interesting, and I gotta admit, I kind of dig those questions. Over in pro wrestling news now, apparently WWE are going to start allowing some of their talent to work indie shows, and this is a good step, honestly, I think. WWE has been so exclusionary over the last, like a few decades, that now that Vince McMahon is gone, they're sort of loosening things up, which is why we've had things like Carl Anderson wrestling for New Japan, and recently Shinsuke Nakamura going over to Noah for his match with the Great Muta. And that's kind of cool. Now look, we're not going to get Roman Reigns turning up in PWG or anything like that. I think this is going to be much lower down the card, guys. Basically, people who they're not really using very much. Gives them the chance to go out and get more work, get more exposure, keep in good ring shape, and just get a better quality of life doing what they enjoy doing rather than driving from town to town and having 5-minute house show matches doing nothing. So that's kind of cool, and I'd like to see where that goes. But it's nice to know that this is something that they are exploring. And also Dark Side of the Ring, which is a really interesting show for your casual wrestling fans to tell people about Dark Side of the Ring, the stories that don't normally make the mainstream consciousness. They're doing a 3rd season and they're covering some interesting subjects. First of all, they're tackling Abdullah the Butcher, who was famous for his bloodbath, violent matches, known for sticking his opponent's heads with a fork that he would keep in his belt. Lovely stuff. And then, it turned out that he had hepatitis for many, many years and didn't tell anyone about it and just swapped blood with people. And lo and behold, some people got hepatitis. Yeah, that's a Dark Side of the Ring kind of story right there. Then there is the story of Mike Awesome, who was a character that I was very fond of in the late 90s in ECW, who did meet a sad end, unfortunately. But his persona was basically a giant, terrifying psychopath who powerbombed people over the top rope through tables. Problem with Mike Awesome was that he was always great as a big fish in a little pond, especially if the little fish in that little pond didn't mind having him murder them. As soon as he got to like the mainstream big boys, all of a sudden he wasn't a giant anymore, and it's like, what does a giant do when he's no longer a giant? That's a bit of a sad tale. And that's the problem when talking about Dark Side of the Ring. They're all sad tales. And then one of my absolute all-time favorites, a real boy in my boy stable, Bam Bam Bigelow, who I don't think has a particularly dark story, but just a very interesting one. Was a professional wrestler, went on to become a bounty hunter. I think he then was, there was a news story about him saving some kids' lives in a fire. I think he got badly burned, which was kind of ironic because like fire was his gimmick. He had like a flames tattooed on his head and stuff. I think I'm remembering that story right. So that's what I'm really going to want to see. And then finally, also the one that they've mentioned is the story of Sunny, which is a very sad story of, I think, a beautiful young girl getting way too much, way too soon, and ultimately kind of destroying her life. So, hey, that's going to be a fun watch, but still, Dark Side of the Ring is quite fascinating, so I know I'm probably going to try and catch them. Over in video game news though, Hi-Fi Rush is a new game that's just come out on Xbox, and dang it, it's really making me want to get an Xbox. It looks beautiful, getting great reviews all across the board, 9 out of 10 on IGN, and I can see why. Essentially, it's a hack and slash brawler, but it's designed with the gimmick that the music and the sound effects all sync up and cue in together, so it's like a rhythm game. So you got to try and like dodge and duck and parry and hit in sort of coordination with the beats, and every time you smack someone, it's a bap, 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 and it all kind of makes music as you do it. It looks so great. There was a game, Rayman Legends, on the Switch that I played a while ago, but that had a similar little gimmick for a couple of levels. For a couple of levels, they would have licensed music tracks, and the enemies were placed in just the right positions so that when you hit them, it went to the beat of the song, and it's just like, once you get in that musical groove, it's so much fun. So Hi-Fi Rush, look, it's not enough to make me want to buy an Xbox. Well, it does make me want to buy an Xbox, but not enough to make me part with the cash. But still, if you are a brawler fan and you got yourself an Xbox, it looks like Hi-Fi Rush is a absolute no-brainer. This game looks really good. Over in random merchandise, do you want to hear me talk about something that I don't really know anything about? Yeah, you do. That's why you watch this show. Footwear. Foot Locker Diadora. Is Foot Locker the seller and Diadora the brand? I think that's it. Regardless, they're doing X-Men shoes, and they look kind of fun. So the main one they're sort of advertising at the moment is the Storm shoe, which is just, you know, it's just a color coding sort of thing, but it looks kind of fun and funky. It's one of those nice little subtle things where it's like, if you know, you know. And also they're advertising it with a Marvel Legend, which is, you know, just kind of cute. Little cross-brand promotion going on there. So there is a Storm one, there is a Wolverine as well, and there's a, gosh, is it Phoenix, maybe? I don't have the pictures in front of me, so I can't recall. But I'm not a big shoe guy, but I like fun, cool merchandise type stuff, and looks like fun, cool merchandise. I was trying to find more information about price and release date, but I couldn't seem to access it. So go forth and see if you can find the info. But certainly just look out for the shoes, because they actually look like a lot of fun. I love, it's kind of like Disney bounding, where you're not out and out cosplaying, but you're just wearing a little something to kind of invoke the character. And in that sense, these look really fun. Over in Cosplay Corner, I want to give a little shout out to the real Lisa Mancina. Just does fantastic cosplay. Simple as that. I mean, I'm always happy to shout out like smaller creators and, you know, people who are still kind of like building a following. This lady, she's doing all right, but there's a reason she's doing all right. Her cosplays look amazing. I mean, she's very beautiful. That does help. But then on top of that, she ain't scrimping. She ain't resting on her laurels. All of these different costumes, the designs, the styles, the way they're put together, the makeup, the hair, the whole shebang all comes together to make for some wicked cosplay. And yeah, go check her out, give her a follow, show some love, tell her Model-Behaviour sent you. And she'll be like, who? And you'll be like, Model-Behaviour. She's like, I've literally never heard of that. And you'll probably be like, yeah, to be fair, not many people have. While you're there on Instagram, I recommend you go check out Mr. Johns. I think there's 2 underscores in that name. This dude, a fantastic artist, and I was recently absolutely chuffed to be the recipient of some art that he did of myself. This dude is a big-time action figure collector, and he's done so many people in the industry, because I'm in the industry. No, but you know what I mean. He's done portraits of many different creators. Dan Yun, he did a portrait of who, I think that is what Dan Yun uses as his Instagram avatar. Like, that's That's pretty freaking cool. That's a little seal of approval right there. So yeah, first of all, Mr. Johns, dude, I've said already privately, but thank you so much for doing an image of me. I absolutely love it. And yeah, guys, go check him out. The dude does amazing work. And finally, over in Egypt, archaeologists have uncovered a 4,300-year-old sarcophagus tomb, opened it, okay, and inside they found this gold-plated mummy of this pharaoh, who was, died, entombed, mummified, and just coated in gold. So, of course, rather than just closing the door, apologizing, and putting it all back where they found it, they've gone, let's disturb this mummy's tomb. What's the worst that can happen? We have just got the world back on track. Don't mess this up, guys. You've just found a mummy's tomb. Don't do these cliches, all right? The human race can't handle it right now. Put everything back where you found it and walk away. Of course, they're not going to do that, so hey, I'm intrigued to see what happens next. And folks, that does it for Good News for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try and get these episodes out on a bit more of a regular kind of thing now. A regular routine? There you go. Those are words that make sense. But thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see here and you want to see more, then you know what you got to do. You got to join the 6-1 clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. That would really help me out, help the channel out, help the algorithm out, because I worry about that algorithm. He needs our help. They need our help. Whatever gender an algorithm is, whatever gender it wants to be. So gang, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.